Doc, people listen to us for nonsense, and we give it to them in spades. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. Some would even say, on our best days, malarkey. Braves, defending champs. Boy, it sure would be a shame if there was no season next year and we were just still the defending champs.
Also, this guy that got hit, how old was he?
46.
What a loser, just sissy man. You just got punched in the face by a 90-year-old man? Come on, dude.
I'll bet Doc is like the Sinbad of Ames, Iowa.
Oh,
because people, I didn't realize, I thought it was just a Doc thing with the corn jokes. Iowa people love corn jokes.
Well, you know what they say, knee high by July, baby.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's killing in the Midwest right now. I'm sure when that hits their ears, they're like, that Doc, he gets us.
Doc, what do I love more than anything? That's right, an angry football team.
I prefer to think of Warsaw as like a battle of who's the best saw, right? So you have like a sawzall, you have a skill saw, you have a hacksaw, handsaw. It's just a battle of saws to the death.
Welcome to the Spaghetti Junction Boys podcast, coming to you from beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. I'm your host, as always, joined here by the one, the only Doc Jacobson. Before we get things started here, we want to thank our friends over at Manscaped. Support for the Spaghetti Junction Boys podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Going over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with an exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SJBAtlanta at manscaped.com. Doc, what happened in the middle of the read there?
Apologies. Phone went sporadic for a second. I was trying to mute it.
Been gone for a month. You come back, try to mix things up, turn things into did y'all get girl talk in Iowa? That music, I don't. They're not a band. There's a
Girl Talk, I heard of them. They were like the glow stick neon kind of like dubstep-y people, right? Or no, did they do the mixing, right? They mixed songs, they matched them.
But you were also right about the first part too. They'd come to your fraternity house and you'd have glow sticks and like big, like blackout things on the walls, and then they'd just be like playing something like boom, 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 boom song, and it'd just be like Saved by the Bell, and then it'd just be like Come on, Barbie, let's go. It would just be like a shit ton of songs mashed together. It's chaos.
It's basically the musical embodiment of the Jersey Shore. So yeah,
because of the chaos.
Because of the chaos. Because of just the fist pumping that goes with that. Oh yeah.
Okay, speaking of fist pumping, this is yet again another boomer take from me, but I don't care. I'm tired of Let's Go. Enough of Let's Go. I was watching Tua Tagovailoa mic'd up, and it was a ton of Let's Go, like just an absolute ton of it. And then every single time you zoom in on someone's face in a football game, baseball game, after a big hit, after, like it's just always let's go or let's fucking go. That's all it is. I miss fun mic'd up. I miss, unique things like that. Some team, like they would say some phrase or what have you. But now it's just boilerplate is all it is. You do something good in sports, you're going to say, let's go. You get a big double to clear the bases in the NLCS, let's fucking go is all you read on lips. Someone gets a big first down, let's go. It's enough. It's not that cool of a phrase to begin with. Tom Brady, I'm not going to give him credit for starting it because I know he wanted to trademark LFG, but I will tell you, fuck you for how much you have kept this going, Tom Brady. While you didn't start it, you are a big part of this still going. I'm glad FTX happened to you. I'm so tired of let's go. There's no creativity in it. It's just what everyone does. And even on that same vein, people who are not involved in professional or collegiate sports are watering it down. It's not cool to begin with when people are doing it at the highest level. But then someone will just be like, oh, there's mozzarella sticks. Let's go. Like, I'm tired of it. Enough. We're going. I want it to go from let's go to just gone. Leave. Out of here, Doc.
Yeah, it's what I'm like pondering in my head is like, what do you replace that with though? Like,
You don't need
I
to
like hell. Like the only one that comes to mind is like hell yeah, you know, like a hell yeah or something. But even then, it's kind of like I don't know. I love to see the people get going, so let's go kind of fits in my wheelhouse. I'm gonna say I like the let's go. I know you don't like it, but I like it.
The emotion won't leave. Like if let's go is banned from the lexicon, like something is planted into our brains that does not allow us to say let's go or let's fucking go. Something will replace it. The emotion's still going to be there, but like something needs to take its place, and it's not one thing. It's just I want a diverse amount of things because you know you're not going to have some really cool quote or really cool thing that you look back on historically when you look at those moments if every single one of them is just let's go, just think for yourself. Do something different. Enough with the let's go. I mean, I saw there was some video. I forget who the athlete was, but he was giving a like 11-year-old an autograph, and this little kid's going, "Let's go, let's go!" And I was like, "Okay, we have sixth graders screaming, let's go now? It's enough."
I think you're just old man yelling at the ocean, right? Yelling at the sea. I don't see how this is going to be you can't fix this, all right? I know the emotion's there, but there is no other combination of two words with a single syllable words like that, let's go, that mean the same thing. I dare you to brainstorm on it. Try to find something.
Well, you're putting it in too little of a box. I don't think we need to replace it with one phrase. It doesn't need to be two words. They don't need to be, monosyllabic. We could just have be excited, say whatever's on your mind, just get a big double in the NLCS and just point at the picture and just go fuck yourself. Would you like that better?
I think I would. I think I would.
Yeah. And I don't know. I love in the NBA, you see it occasionally when a tall guy does something over a smaller guy, and the smaller guy's a star player, and he's just you're too small. You're too small. I like that. That one I enjoy. Even though Kevin Durant, horrible shit talker, he looks so uncomfortable doing it. It's have you seen the mic'd up Trevor Lawrence?
Yes, yeah, it's absolutely awful.
Oh, you sent me a video the other day of Mike.
Yeah.
I saw one of him in the tunnel a month ago. And when you sent me that other one, I was like, oh, this isn't just one thing of him being awkward. He's just an awkward guy. He's an alien. Where he's just all right, guys, let's get hyped up. We're gonna beat them in sports. We're gonna try to score more points than them, and they're gonna try to stop us, but I don't think they can. They might be able to, but I don't think they can. You're just dude, you were awful at this.
Is this just proof that Clemson is a school for nerds, and anybody that goes there is a nerd? They don't know how to party, they don't know how to have fun, and they're clearly the second worst school in the state of South Carolina?
Man, if my wife ever listened to this show, she'd bring cookies to your house. She'd have a batch of brownies coming to you. And I
just don't understand how you are the greatest quarterback at their program's history, probably all time, with maybe arguably Deshaun Watson. You've won, 2 national championships, a Heisman. You're the most, number one recruit. You go to a big university, state university. It's known to party. People there party. And you're still this, just robotic, monotone Kawhi Leonard lookalike. What the hell is this? It just doesn't make any sense.
No Clemson Tiger has ever won a Heisman. My wife reminds me of that every year during the Palmetto Bowl when South Carolina starts losing, and then she just starts going over things that South Carolina's better at or has over them.
So none of them have ever won a Heisman. Okay.
That's when I know that she's like quit emotionally on that game, is when she starts being like, "Oh yeah, when's your last national title in women's basketball?" I'm just like, okay, all right, something's hurting. It's like, yeah, go back to your stupid farm town with 11 people. I'm like, okay, it's not going well. I would do the same thing to Mississippi State if they ever beat us, but they don't, so I don't have to worry about that.
Knock on wood.
So yeah, got that game 7 days from now. So Doc, college basketball started last week, and I know it's you're not going to agree with me on this because Iowa State has a basketball history, and you've already washed your hands of the football team for the year. But
We'll make a bowl game. That's all I'm hoping for. But yes.
I didn't realize that y'all were last in the Big 12 and Oklahoma's second to last in the Big 12. That is absolutely wild when you look at the last 5 years of the Big 12 to think of that. But maybe
are you just trying to make me depressed? What's your problem?
You got the basketball team. The basketball team's back on track after they got rid of Halliburton from you. Not Halliburton. Who's the coach that they got? Prom.
Fucking hated that guy.
After
Thank God we got rid of him.
After all of the just horrible things you said to him on Twitter, I would say it's like, we can't subject this guy to any more Doc Jacobson, so we got to fire him.
Hey, I stand by what I said on Twitter. I'm never taking those words back.
Yeah,
I need to get on a rant again. I need to crack open a bottle of bourbon and get on a Twitter rant again. Start motherfucking people's lives.
Tell Matt Campbell to go take the Nebraska job.
I don't want to think about Iowa State right now. Basketball doesn't start till the football's done. College basketball does not start until after January 13 or whatever, after the championship game.
You know when basketball starts for me?
It's really after the Super Bowl. I don't actually care until NFL's over.
Conference.
March. Are you gonna say March? Oh, college. Yeah. So you're a 2-week basketball kind of guy. I respect that, actually.
I'll watch Seton Hall Providence on a Tuesday in late February, early March, whenever it is. And then I'll watch from Greensboro. I will watch the conference tournaments, even the like shitty Tuesday to Thursday games where it's just like, hey, I'm sorry to throw Clemson under the bus yet again. It's only been 11 minutes. But yeah, I'll watch Clemson, Georgia Tech on a Wednesday at noon. All right? Fine. Feed me your Ole Miss Vanderbilt on Tuesday night. Okay. How about a little I was trying to think of who's the worst in the Big Ten. Penn State?
Rutgers. Rutgers, yeah. I was going to say, but Rutgers has been okay lately.
They were a bubble team last year, I think.
Yeah.
But, when I was a little kid, I watched Big Monday, Super Tuesday, all that, and I could name you 6-7 players off of everyone in the top 25, everyone in the SEC and ACC down this neck of the woods. And I'm not going after the transfer portal or guys going to the G League because I believe that the kids should have their free reign to a large degree. Like, I don't think you should have unlimited transfers because then that would just be chaos in the way that, especially in basketball, where it's just like, you made me run at practice. Pack up my dorm. They'd just have a suitcase ready. But I think kids obviously should get paid. I think if the G League's a better opportunity, you get a better contract there, go there, to hell with college. You'd be able to transfer, whatever. But with that, I don't know who anyone is. Like, this isn't a me problem, which I tend to deflect a lot, but this is not a me problem because I know who college football players are and what teams they're on. I know NFL players are and what teams they're on. I know NBA, MLB to an extent. I don't know college basketball players. I also don't know who the top teams are. Like, I'm sure Gonzaga's up there. I saw a Kentucky game where they were number 4 when they lost the other night.
I bet just lost to Texas last night. I had that on for some reason. Gonzaga, yeah.
So
It was a good game.
I don't like I honestly when I start watching conference tournaments, that's when I'm like, oh, Baylor's the 1 seed in the Big 12. And someone's like, oh, they're going to be the national seed. I'm like, oh, I had no idea that they were going to make the tournament. And it's because, like, growing up, I got to be, watch Maryland and hate Nick Kaner Medley and Lonnie Baxter and Steve Blake. And, you watch Duke and you see J.J. Redick and, this big, ugly white guy from East Europe and this other big, ugly guy from Eastern Europe. Like, that made college basketball fun for me. And so I waited for the season to start. I don't give it now until late February, early March. I don't.
I think it's in college thing too, right? Like once you kind of hit that 5-year out of college mark, I think you just kind of fall off the cliff, as they say, in terms of college basketball fandom. Obviously, football runs the SEC, and the SEC just runs life down here for the entire fall and part of the first part of winter. But it's just, you don't have that kind of basketball. It's like college basketball kind of mentality down here. It's weird. I have the same mentality too. Like I'm bad. I don't even know the top 5 players on Iowa State right now, and I'm not gonna know until January. Call me a bad fan. I don't care. Come at me on Twitter. Doesn't bother me. I don't care. I still watch. I still cheer. I still have a nice glass of bourbon while I watch the Clones kick ass. Doesn't matter.
I can tell you right now, 5 guys coming out of the Ole Miss bullpen, a guy who would not start but be a pinch runner, a lefty bat off the bench, a righty bat off the bench. And this is with a very transient period where you had a lot of guys go to the draft and a couple guys transfer out to make space for new guys. But I was watching an Ole Miss basketball game, and I was watching it. I was caught off guard. I was looking at ESPN.com for something else and saw we were in the second half against Chattanooga. I was like, oh, shit, we play tonight. So I flipped it on, and I saw a great backdoor pass by a number 0. And I went back to ESPN.com to look up who number 0 was.
Which, like, for you, that is an eye-opening experience.
That's not right.
That's something's wrong here. What's wrong with this picture?
Yeah.
That would be what's wrong.
And that's why I laugh at, like, because I don't think I'm alone. And like you said, I think me having an issue with college basketball is a bit indicative of where college basketball is at. And again, a good point by you is the regional thing.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, and also college basketball boils down. College basketball just boils down to March Madness. That's all that matters in college basketball. It's not like football where it's weekend, every game matters. You can go on a 10-game losing streak in basketball, win your conference, and make it into the freaking tournament.
This is why the Kansas fans who think the SEC and Big Ten are fighting over them, which if you don't know that's a thing, that's actually a thing. There are Kansas fans on message boards who have a narrative that the SEC is like, no, we want Kansas. And the Big Ten's like, no, we want Kansas. Neither want Kansas. Oh, that big Wichita market. But some of the reasoning I've seen is like, we're a basketball blue blood. In Kansas, you are. The rules of basketball at Kansas, of course, James Naismith, and you've had players throughout the years. You have a historic arena. You are one of college basketball's elite programs historically and obviously in modern day too. But Kansas, no one gives a shit. Like, did you see at one point 11 million people were watching the Ole Miss Alabama game on Saturday? That was their peak, was 11 million something people.
Jesus.
Kansas will never have 11 million people. It could be undefeated number 1 Kansas versus undefeated number 2 Texas.
Duke.
Well, Duke could be early in the year.
Would it be the Big 12 ACC? No, it's Big 12 SEC, that matchup that they do kind of mid-year.
They don't – like, college basketball doesn't even thirst – or people aren't thirsting for college basketball even after, like, football's wrapping up and it's the only thing going. Is like NBA, NHL, and college basketball.
But that's an NBA problem too. I think that's just a basketball problem because they play so many games. And it's kind of like baseball's issue too, just playing too many games. You go on a cold streak, doesn't matter. You'll bounce back eventually. that's what's so awesome and unique about football is every game matters, every weekend matters, and if you're not tuned in, get the fuck out.
So I want to find what the ratings were for that Kansas Duke game. Was it last night or 2 nights ago?
I would bet under 2 million. Under.
I can't find that, but what did pop up is the Final Four game of Duke UNC for the first time ever in the Final Four, the chance at to go into the national title game in Coach K's what turned out to be his final game, got 16 million. So obviously 16 million more than 11 million, but it's number 9 versus number 11 in the SEC in a fairly inconsequential game, unless Ole Miss had run the table and LSU lost again, versus the biggest college basketball game of all time. Like, it doesn't matter, but oh well. Doc, I've got something for you. When I was looking at the pre-show and sorting out some things, it was like, okay, this sucks. This is fine. I'll throw this in there. I went to an old well. And that is Florida Man. And so I want to give you an option. So I came up with something called Florida Man Roulette. I have 4 stories here. And what we could do, you can pick all 4 of them. You can go, hey, give me the third one, give me the second one, and we'll give brief synopsises on them, each of them. Or you pick one, we just have at it. So it's however you want to play the game.
Let's pick one and have at it. Best one in your eyes. You are a Florida man.
And if it sucks, we'll move on to another one. So give me a number between 1 and 4, Doc.
1.
Wow, pretty good one to choose. All right. So this one is titled Florida Man chugs 2 beers under 30 seconds at Epcot, removes shirt, and almost falls from Skyliner platform during skirmish with police.
I love it. I need to know the details on what this skirmish was. I mean, I saw this pop on Twitter, on Instagram for a bit too. It just sounds like an awesome story.
So a 30-year-old man from Merritt Island was stumbling, being excessively loud, swearing, and was unsteady on his feet, according to the sheriff's office. Then deputies were called over by a Disney food and beverage manager who was also photographing the man and alerted all food and beverage locations not to serve this man. When the deputies got there, he chugged 2 beers in less than 30 seconds. The others in his group knew he was in trouble. They tried to give him a drink of water and head toward the exit. He got into an argument with a group at the Japan Pavilion. Deputies then said, hey, cut it out. So then he went to the Morocco Pavilion and got into a conversation with the security manager. He's traveling the world getting into shit.
And I guarantee you when he wakes up in Drunk Tank and he goes and tells his stories to his friend, he's like, I'm a world traveler. I start shit everywhere I go.
In his mugshot, he is shirtless with an unbelievable amount of back hair, a very cheap-looking gold chain, and a face that says, I drink a lot of Mountain Dew. He was trying to get to the gondola ride, almost fell off. A statement from the police said, he continued to yell and ask what he did wrong all the way up the ramp to the Skyliner. Once in the queue, he continued to act belligerent and caused the crowd of people in line to become alarmed. While attempting to get him onto the physical gondola car, he couldn't initially get in and was dangerously close to falling into the area beneath where the attraction operates. As the disturbance continued, the staff stopped the entire transportation system for his safety, inconveniencing and delaying all riders. He initially entered the gondola of the Skyliner and then began to push his way out to hurl insults at members of security. He pleaded no contest to charges of trespassing and disorderly conduct, served a day in jail, and paid a $273 fine.
Extremely low fine for that story.
Yeah,
$273.
He definitely spent more money on booze than the fine at Disney.
Yeah, that was the smallest ticket item of his day. Was that fine? Was that ticket? 2, This might be the most Florida man of all Florida men because doesn't Disney have its own like security and police? And it was so bad that they had to pull in the actual like Okomogi County sheriffs or whatever the hell it is. Oh my, this guy, I need to see a freaking mugshot at some point. As I have so many ideas of what this guy looks like. No face tats? Kind of surprising there's no
I'll
face
tell you
tats.
what, whatever you think he looks like is exactly what he looks like. Let me see. Can I share my screen?
Yeah. You're gonna present.
All right. Look at this asshole. I'm trying to learn it on.
Do you have
No, I think I can do it. Ah, shit. No, I can't do it. All right.
We'll get the interns on it next week. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, not great. But yeah, anyway. So this guy's definitely going to use this as a flex, the whole chug 2 beers in 30 seconds. He's going to be talking to his horrible friends.
First of all, that's not that fast. They made it seem like that was like a world record chugging speed. Have you seen David Bakhtiari take down a 22-ounce beer in like 5 seconds? This guy is a slow chugger.
But we also don't know how many ounces of beer. And 2, this was definitely a panic move because the cops were there. And even as drunk as he was, part of him had to be like, that's for me. I better get rid of these beers before they tell me I can't have them anymore. Boom, boom.
We get rid of the evidence. There's like high-speed chase from the cops and throwing weed out the car. They're going to find it.
Yeah. Oh, there was a video on Instagram the other day of at Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson Airport in the security line of just drugs on the ground. It brought me so much civic pride to know how ridiculous this place can be.
It's a great city. I love it.
You know, I kind of want to go through all of these. Give me
right.
4.
Let's go 3. I like odd numbers.
So 3, this is the New York Post when Donald Trump announced that he was running for president, and we're not going to get into any of the political side of this, but their title of the article was Florida Man Makes Announcement.
They're actually?
Yeah, that's what the New York Post said. And I don't want to sound like a snowflake, but I was frankly, I was really offended by this because I am a true Florida man. This son of a bitch is from New York, and he comes down to Florida because the weather's horrible, and you know, as all New Yorkers do, oh, I wish the pizza were better down here. Oh, why can't I get the Yanks game on TV? Go to hell. Your state is worse. That's why you came down to Florida to begin with. He is not a real Florida man. That is stolen Florida
Flower. I'm trying to think of how to match Valor in Florida. Valorda. I don't know. Valorda. There we go.
Getting dangerously close to Valhalla. Am I wrong to be offended by this?
No, you're absolutely within your own rights to be offended by this. I mean, to call Donald Trump a Florida man would be almost as insulting as calling me a Californian, I think. So I take great offense to this. I'm not. I just had a Florida ID one time, but I'm not a Florida guy.
2 or 4?
Let's go to the big number 2.
A 73-year-old Florida man dies after crashing homemade plane into tree.
Okay. I kind of wish we started with this one because there's a lot to unpack here. A homemade plane. That's awesome. One. I have to imagine 85% of that plane was made out of cardboard. And him flying it was just jumping off the roof and just happened to land headfirst in a tree, and that's what killed him. 73, and you're going to build your own plane, dude?
Single-engine homemade plane he was piloting. On attempting to take off, he lost control and stuck a tree. He was taken to a hospital where he died from unspecified injuries.
Unspecified. He crashed a plane into a tree. What are you talking about? Unspecified.
You know what? I could specify it for you.
Massive head trauma.
You know the guy's name, Charles Albin. You know that people in Charles's life were like, Tad, you better not be about to fly that plane. Charles, I've told you once, I've told you twice. You built that in the garage. It's not built for the sky. I'm going to fly this fucking plane.
The other thing I need to know about...
This guy's the same as the one who chugged 2 beers in 30 seconds at Disney. Yeah, I'm going to fly that fucking plane. Oh, God.
Was it a homemade like landing strip, takeoff strip too? Like, was this just in like the Everglades of Florida, or did he? There's no way he got permission from the AFA or whatever, the American like the airlines or whatever, to go to an actual runway. Like,
am I cleared for takeoff? How did you get this number? It looks like it's out of like a little shed, like one of those sheds you build yourself in your backyard.
Oh my gosh. And honestly, I mean, this is the name of the game for when you're a 73-year-old Florida man. You have to make a name for yourself. If that thing successfully took off and flew from like Florida even to, I don't know, from Miami to Jacksonville, right? Successful plane trip, might be the greatest human ever. So he just went down in a blaze of glory. The guy, give him props. Gotta give him props. Golf clap. Should have been playing golf, but golf clap.
I mean, what a... I just love the idea that this guy, it's like in National Treasure, how Thomas Gates and his whole family, they were like treasure hunters. And, oh, you know, so-and-so didn't invent this. My grandfather. You know, this guy was just like carrying along in Vendetta. He's like, the fucking Wright brothers, my grandfather invented planes. And then he taught his son how to build planes.
I didn't think about that.
And one day I'm going to teach my grandson how to build a plane. And then he just flies right into a damn tree.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Or actually, the other possibility too is he's trying to connect with his grandson, and for some reason his grandson is super into flight simulations. And he's like, "What are you doing on that computer there, boy? Trying to fly a plane? I'm gonna show you how to fly a plane. Just man, I'm gonna make my own plane, damn it." Just total boomer move, not knowing like computers or anything. He's like, "Fuck it, I'll make a plane. It's a simulation."
Yeah, it doesn't look great, but I mean, unspecified injuries, Doc.
You fucking hit a tree in a goddamn plane. What do you think their fucking injuries were? Oh, no, give me number 4. This is good. We might have to bring this in.
So there was a guy in Stock Island, just outside of Key West, who broke into someone's garage around 10 a.m. and stole a Garmin GPS unit, an air pump, an engine part, and 85 pounds of shrimp. Felipe Fonseca, a 52-year-old, has had previous encounters with law enforcement. He was booked into jail on charges of burglary, larceny, possession of burglary tools, and damage to property. Now, the Garmin, the air pump, the engine part, not very funny. But, oh my God, do you know how many shrimp 85 pounds of shrimp is?
So it's a lot of shrimp. I've bought recently 6 pounds of shrimp, and you need a damn like Costco size tote bag to frickin' take that thing home. So 85 pounds of shrimp, I have to imagine would be the size of like a 55-gallon trash can, right? Like a big trash can that you see at like sporting events and stuff. I would assume it's about that size. Secondly, the engine part might be funny. There's either he broke into this to steal the Garmin and then magically opened a fridge or freezer or whatever. Like, oh my God, look at all this shrimp. Or it was all about the shrimp all along. And he was like, I'm going to steal some other stuff just to make it seem like it was a full robbery. But I had this guy bringing in 85 pounds of shrimp on a freaking cart dolly the other day. I'm going to go steal some of that.
Yeah, I guess it does, because everything is like the other except for the shrimp.
Right.
And so I am curious, was he in there? Was it just an opportunity thing of just taking whatever he could find? Or was he in there for like the Garmin, the engine part, and then was just like, it's a lot of shrimp over there, unattended? Or was it just like, this son of a bitch has so much shrimp? And then when he's in there, he's just like, you know what? I get lost a lot. I'm 52. I'll steal this Garmin. I could use that. But I just imagine when he thought he was getting away with that, how excited he was for those shrimp. Just like, honey, get the cooker going. Get the garlic, get the coconut, get the air fryer out. Like I think of him as Bubba Gump, of going through and just being like, I can make coconut shrimp, I can make shrimp scampi. That he's just going through what he can do with 85 pounds of shrimp. Because that in Florida, that's basically currency. Like if you go down to the gas station and you need a can of dip, just give him a couple shrimp and it's fair bartering legally.
My inherently good heart is just thinking, maybe the guy's like, hey, I know Bob. Bob's going out of town for the next week and a half. He ain't going to need all this shrimp. It's going to go bad. I'd hate to see it go bad. Let me go get it. He's like, oh, Bob said I could borrow his Garmin too. And it's just a big misunderstanding. That's ultimately what I'm hoping here. My everlasting good heart.
All right, well, that was Florida Man Roulette. Did you have fun, Doc?
I did. We need to do that once a month or maybe twice a month. But let's go once a month. Florida needs time to recover. That's a lot of really good stories, by the way, though.
And Florida always finds themselves replenishing those stories. All right, well, let's get into Gambling Dan's. Last week, Doc and myself, we both went 3-2, but lost our whammies. So that put us at 500 for the week in terms of, or no blood in terms of units. Ben went 2-2-1, so no blood there. On the year, Doc is 26-27, so hitting 49%. He's hitting 36% of whammies. He does have a 23-20 record in the NFL, though, so 3 games above 500 in the NFL. I am 30-22-1, good for 58%. I'm hitting 50% of whammies. Yeah, got the rest a little too granular. 58%, 50% on whammies. So, Doc, you want to start off or you want me to get going?
I will get us started off in my glorious return to the debut of Gambling Dan's. Pick number 1, Ravens at the Panthers. I'm going under 41.5. Panthers are an awful team. Actually, I believe the Ravens are hosting them. Doesn't matter. Lamar is going to put up 35. It's going to be a 35-3 win. Panthers are a dead football team. You want to see dumpster fires, you go down to Charlotte and watch those Panthers try to play football. They're not even from a state. They're just the Carolina Panthers. They cover 2 states. Should be illegal, but that's for another day. Pick number 2. I got to be honest on this pick. It was a hand off the chess piece pick, right? Hands off the chess piece. Pick is made. I thought this game was going to be played in Buffalo. There's supposed to be 2.5 feet of snow on the ground in Buffalo for this game. So I was thinking Bills, Browns, under all day, 49.5. They're moving the game to Detroit, but I'm a man of my word and I'm a man of honor. I'm sticking with the under 49.5, even though it's going to be a freaking racetrack in that dome in Detroit.
All right, I'm going to get started with a pair in college football. Give me Florida State minus 23.5 against the University of Louisiana Lafayette. In their last 2 games, Florida State has absolutely dismantled previously ranked ACC opponents. They beat Syracuse at Syracuse 38-3. They beat Miami at Miami 45-3. They have absolutely been beating the shit out of teams lately. And now, I mean, you could call it a trap game. I do worry about trap game. This is at high noon. And, of course, you have the Governor's Cup next week against Florida. But Florida State's just really, really clicking right now, both on offense and defense. I think they're just a house to stop. 23.5 is a ton to lay. I'm not huge on enormous lines typically, but I like this. I'm going to lay it. I think Florida State blows them out. Second pick, give me Georgia versus Kentucky under 49.5. The last 3 meetings between these teams have all been under this number, and Kentucky hasn't scored more than 17 points on a Georgia defense since 2016. The overs are 3-7 in Georgia games this year. I'll do you one better. They're 1-9 in Kentucky games. Kentucky's not scoring a ton of points. They're not giving up a ton of points. We've got 7 touchdowns in a hook. I don't think Kentucky's going to score much on them, but Kentucky, pretty stingy defense. You're going up against Stetson Bennett, who has to rely on Ladd McConkey and those enormous tight ends. The run game's still not what you're used to at Georgia. So I think Georgia's going to kill Kentucky as well, but I don't think they're going to score a ton of points. And so I think it's going to be something like a 28-10. All I know is it's under 49.5, so take the under there.
So if my first 2 picks, turned your stomach a little bit, betting the under, nobody likes doing it, or everybody gets a little wishy-washy when it comes to betting the unders, my next 2 picks are just going to outright make you vomit. Pick number 3, give me Jets +3 in Foxborough. Jets are a good football team. You know who's not a good football team? The Patriots. They're having a really bad year. The Jets, they've proven that they can still produce offensively with Breece Hall being out for the year with that ACL tear. That Zach Wilson guy can just dink and dime. I really like the Jets here, pull an upset overall money line win as well. So, but for this show, give me Jets +3. And then there's another little team here that you think, why the hell would I ever bet on the other New York team? That's right. Give me Giants -3 because they're actually a good football team. 7-2 on the year. They are just blowing teams out of the water. They're playing quite tight games too when they're on the road, but they are at home, I believe. Sorry, my Google or my app just quit on me. Give me a second here. But I do like the Giants hosting the Lions. The Lions cannot play defense. They've given up probably 25 points a game per average this year. Really, really bad defense. I really like the Giants to go off. We'll get the interns to tighten up the stats next week. Don't worry, ladies and gents. I'm getting back in my flow.
Hey, you're just dusting off the cobwebs. So for me, I hate being this guy. I already gave you an under in college football. Makes me feel like a gross guy. I'm going 2 unders in the NFL, Doc. I'm going unders. The first one is tonight in an hour and 20 minutes, so you're probably not going to hear this before this bet has already happened, but Twitter will hear about it. Under 41.5, Titans and Packers. The unders in prime time this year are 20-11. That's 65%. The unders in general are 88 and 62. So that's 59%. Unders are hitting. Tennessee is remarkably one-sided this year ever since A.J. Brown was traded to Philadelphia. Ryan Tannehill looks bad. Malik Willis looks worse. Green Bay, looked pretty good last week. Aaron Rodgers throwing it around. The run game is strong. It's going to be cold. It's going to be a ton of running. That means it's going to be a running clock, not a ton of chances for points. I like both defenses here, so I like the under. Give me the under here. The next one, give me the under 41.5, same number, in Las Vegas and Denver. Now, it's going to be an absolutely hideous game. The Raiders are a mess. McDaniels needs to go. He has no idea what he's doing. He's riding that Patriots success in that 314-yard performance by Tim Tebow against the Steelers in the playoffs. That's all he's holding on to. Derek Carr's crying in post-game press conferences. Josh Jacobs should be getting fed more. He's not. Darren Waller's on IR. Hunter Renfro's on IR. I don't expect them to score a ton of points. Meanwhile, the Broncos are the best team in football at hitting unders. They're 8-1 at hitting unders this year. The total is missing by an average of 11.6 points per game. Russell Wilson does not look good. Jerry Jeudy's hurt. Every running back they've signed in their entire franchise's history is hurt. They're not going to score many points on the Raiders. The Raiders are anemic. They are not going to score many points on the Broncos. Give me the under 41.5 there as well.
On to our whammies. I am taking the Minnesota Vikings plus 1.5 at home, hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone's thinking, oh, Dallas has to come back, rear back from that terrible loss, historic loss to the Packers last week. I think I saw a stat. It was like 195 games or 195-0 when leading by 14 points or more in the fourth quarter. And Mike McCarthy found a way to lose that game. Give me the Vikings. Give me, I don't even know what the new nickname for him is going to be yet, but Kurt 2 Chainz Cousins. He's the man. I love him just dancing on the plane, shining, icing, let it go. Vikings outright at home, plus 1.5. Easy money, bet the house.
So this, I need to say this quietly with my wife somewhere in the house. But give me for my whammy the Tennessee Volunteers minus 21.5 against South Carolina. Listen, in their last 6 games, if you take out the Georgia loss and the win against Alabama at home, Tennessee beat LSU by 27. They beat Tennessee Martin, I know, FCS team, by 41. They beat Kentucky by 38, and they beat Missouri last week by 42. They've hung 50 points in their last 6 games 3 times. They've hung 40 points 5 of 6 times, and they've hung 60 points twice in that time. That is a nightmare offense. I think South Carolina does have a pretty good defense, despite how it's looked in recent weeks. They lost 38-6 to Florida last week. Florida's not very good. They beat Vanderbilt 38-27 the week before. I just don't trust South Carolina. I don't trust that offensive coordinator. Marcus Satterfield needs to go. Spencer Rattler has looked terrible. Marshawn Lloyd's been hurt. I just don't see a way South Carolina stays close unless it gets super, super wonky. They make a lot of special teams plays, of course, Beamer ball. But they'll need a lot of that and a lot on defense to hang with the balls. And I'm not going to bet on needing defensive and special team scores to hang within the number. So give me Vols minus 21.5. Don't love a hook. Don't think it matters here. All right. That's going to do it for us. Thanks as always for listening and obliging me with my boomer sensibilities. Doc, you have anything to say to people before we go?
Happy to be back. Hope my sultry voice is getting the people what they want and getting them where they're going. Keep it between the ditches, brother.
Thanks as always for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week.